In EU4, I believe without question the most fun modifier to stack is admin efficiency. It used to be uncapped, with Hordes gaining a mission for plus 20% admin efficiency for 20 years. In an update a while back, it became possible to get 100% admin efficiency in those 20 years. And what a time it was. Every province became one war score, and all of China could be annexed for the cost of 4 admin and a bag of peanuts. The glory days are behind us. Although I do have to admit that from a practical point of view, 90% admin efficiency is basically the same, which is the current cap. In this video today, I'll be going over how to achieve this cap, that 90% admin efficiency. And more importantly, we're actually going to be achieving the cap itself on a permanent basis. Now then, disclaimers. You will have it technically permanently, but it does require admin tech 27. Hence, you actually will only have it for the last 5 admin techs in the game. A not insignificant amount of time, sure, but that's an important clarification for the sake of completeness. As always, Ironman mode will also be enabled, achievements on, and standing setup will be used. But with all that out of the way, let's begin. The starting tag today is going to be a personal favourite of mine. It is going to be the Peasant Republic nation of Dithmarschen. And this is a real Peasant Republic nation. An actual, well, Peasant Republic. None of this Aragon old history potential of being an anarchist state. An actual down-to-earth Peasant Republic that beat back the forces of feudalism quite a few impressive times before it did eventually lose the forces of feudalism in the 1700s. But truly a remarkable place with a very unique history, a truly wonderful mission tree combining powerful modifiers for those that enjoy stacking them like me, and a great country for those that enjoy role-playing the game as well due to its very unique circumstances and positioning. But enough going on about how amazing this country is, let's get into it. So the first thing we have to do in Dithmarschen is get over to our missions. A truly wonderful mission tree here, but there is one mission specifically that we care about. We need to quite literally break the chains that hold back our oppression. Now, to get to this mission tree, you will need to first of all grab some alliances, which is pretty doable, resist feudalism, so get 4 provinces in the Lower Saxony area, so expand from your starting position. Then get yourself 3 provinces owned in Frisia by either yourself or a Peasant Republic ally. Peasant Republics are a bit hard to spawn, for lack of a better word, so I'd recommend owning that land yourself. A much easier way of getting this mission done. Then the Peasant School. Now, one of the ways to achieve this is get to victory for the peasants in the Great Peasant School disaster for the Germans, like HRE thing, but you could also just conquer 30 provinces in Germany. I find the second way of completing this mission much simpler. Which actually gives us our first bonus at the end of the game, some Spino construction rebel support efficiency. Honestly though, that is not what we're here for. Of course we want to break the chains and get 5% admin efficiency until the end of the game. Before we leave Dithmarschen and get to the other tags that we're forming so far, a couple other things I'd like to point out. The Conquest of Bread. You will need to get 10 provinces producing grain and having 20 development, which will give a massive 20% goods produced until the end of the game. This is the equivalent of 4 furnaces, or the entire English or German government idea for goods produced. This is a truly massive economic modifier, and I would actually recommend getting this if you're doing this yourself at home. However, as you're playing into Dithmarschen, make sure you start making your way down south, namely into this area of Italy here. You will need to switch your culture into Piemontese. I find that's probably the easier auto option, because you need to perform Sardinian Piedmont. You could also switch into Sardinian, although I feel like Piemontese is probably a bit closer to you. So with this area conquered, flip into being Piemontese. And there we go, now that we're Piemontese, we can go ahead and form Sardinian Piedmont. You're welcome to take new traditions and ambitions here, it's not going to matter, we're going to be taking German ideas eventually anyway. Slight spoilers. We have formed Sardinian Piedmont for 1 mission and 1 mission entirely. And this one is also relatively easy to do. We'll need to dev Torino to 20 development and get it Renaissance, which, if it hasn't got Renaissance by the time you got over there, I'm very impressed. Then get 30 dev and build some more buildings before you go in and get the powerhouse of the north. Just a bunch more development and building some manufactories. And 10 times your starting income, which I'll be honest, as Dithmarschen isn't the hardest challenge. This of course will give us the Alpine powerhouse, another 10% goods produced, so you've actually already stacked 20% goods produced on the side, as well as an extra 5% admin efficiency. While you're doing all of this, make sure you're also conquering to northern Germany, and as you could probably tell by the fact my government tab is open, you'll need to flip Prussian here, because it's finally time to form our next country, Prussia. And yes, you will need to flip out of Catholicism, so Protestant for this part, or Reformed, or whichever one takes your fancy. Doesn't matter in our case. With that, form Prussia. As before, you're welcome to take new traditions and ambitions. As Prussia, there are a couple interesting missions for us to go through, and a lot of them are quite good. But the one we care about the most here is the German Confederation, which is going to be giving us 10% governing capacity modifier on as a capital modifier, so 10% GovCap, which is kind of nice. But more importantly, the German Confederation, which until the end of the game will provide us with another 5% admin efficiency. If you are taking your time as Prussia, there are some other quite nice modifiers to pick up in your run, including some reinforcement cost, army drill gain, and regiment drill loss until the end of the game here, and a very nice Palace of Berlin given a monthly admin power +1 and 2 monthly splendor until Berlin ever falls. Now you want to make sure Berlin never falls, and bear in mind that this will go away if a rebel ever sieges it. So be very protective of Berlin after popping this mission, because this is a very strong modifier. Finally, another permanent modifier that you should consider picking up while you are in Prussia is the Magnificent Hero of the Brandenburg Gate upgrade here for the Balance of Power mission. Not only does it provide max effective absolutism, which weirdly enough is actually redundant in our case, it also gives another 10% manpower modifier in our culture group, which for the record is going to be, well, Germany, which is quite a nice modifier. But now it's time to make our way over to southern Spain. See, when the British were attempting their world conquest run, they actually had a war with the Spanish over this monument. Unfortunately, their diplomat fat-fingered the peace deal, and thus they end up taking Gibraltar instead of Granada. We, however, will not be fat-fingering anything, because we are here for Alhambra. Now, Alhambra, at the maximum level with no requirements, is going to provide us with another 5% admin efficiency. And now it's time for the final tag switch. Form Germany, and very importantly here, do take the German ambitions and traditions. Now as Germany, you will also need to complete the mission Kaiserreich. At this point, I'm assuming you have your ideas filled out. If you haven't filled out your idea groups by admin tag 20, well, I doubt you survived the early game Aztec Martian, but that's neither here nor there. The reason that you're doing this is of course to pick up the Reichstag, which will give you an extra 5% admin efficiency. Now, it's a rather simple time ahead of you. Get maximum absolutism, I'm assuming you would have known this by this point already, and combine this with the other 30% admin efficiency you gain from technology. Now, some of the more eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed here in the Imperial German ideas that we are going to be actually concluding this as a republic, since we did have our Dipmartian roots as a peasant republic. Funnily enough, it's now still very possible for us to achieve a maximum level of absolutism as a republic. In fact, it's quite easy. See, this republic is kind of unique that compared to every other republic which tends to decrease maximum absolutism, the statocratic administration actually increases it by 30. However, you continue to have access to a lot of the Republican government reforms, including the max absolutism from authoritarianism, another 5 from the presidential system, and frankly a rather remarkable 25 max absolutism from being a strengthening executive powers democratic Germany. This creates a rather weird side effect that, honestly, out of basically every country in the game, if you are here just to stack find the absolutism number, democratic Germany is probably the actual best bet for it. But there you have it. If you do all of the things mentioned here, this will give you the 90% admin efficiency that you so much desire. So it's demonstration time. Here I have a normal looking Oirat with one little small change. I've changed the starting idea to have the 90% admin efficiency for the purpose of the demonstration. And this is the amount of land you can take from Ming in one war. Bear in mind this is with no province force or cost reduction, and to core all of that will only set you back 340 admin. It does create an end to a small coalition. Ming will be slightly upset with us, but no one else will really mind. So there you go, that is the power of maximum absolutism in EU4. I hope you enjoyed the video, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!